Good evening, one and all. Welcome to a weekend live that should have happened Friday night, should have happened Saturday night, but I'm here now, which is Sunday if you're watching this in the future. Hello to those of you in the chat already. Hello, Gray, Dice. Yeah, so there's a goal right now in the chat. If we get 10 super chats at the yellow tier or higher, I'll do a live commentary on a trilogy, a consecutive stream covering a trilogy, and Gray apparently would like to see the Human Centipede trilogy watch along. We can go over that. We just need to hit the goal. I will torture myself. Shit, I actually kind of like one of them, so that wouldn't be that torturous for me. But yeah, we can certainly get over the particulars when that goes down. Dale, what's up? Ryan, Christian, have you not seen that intro? I feel like I'm using old, rotten intros, and I appreciate the compliment because I get sick of them. JDev, how are you? Okay, I think I'm caught up. Matthew says, watching your favorite Gary Oldman movie, Leon the Professional. It might be my top 3. I don't know if I would say that that's my favorite Gary Oldman movie. Human Centipede, does he owe you money? No, I think he just wants to see me suffer. So this is kind of, there's been a couple of questions that have been asked quite a few times over the course of years. And supporters have asked, and the saying is money talks and bullshit walks. And yeah, so when someone throws money at me and asks me a question, asks me one, I tend to dance like a monkey. So I'm going to do it here in this fat bunch, and a couple of other questions have been asked. Not as juicy or burning a question as I would say some of these others have been. One that was asked in the notification, the post, the community post, that I think I heard it once, and I don't know if I answered it in jest, but I wrote him down here, right there on the list there, and the fact that I was intrigued by at least one of them is saying something. But and obviously super chats and so on, we will answer. Again, money talks. And if enough money talks, we'll be doing what appears to be the Human Centipede trilogy. But anywho, some of these have been asked by supporters. Some of them have been asked a couple of times over the course of history, and some were just asked over the course of the last week or so since I announced this for Friday, and then Saturday, and then Sunday. And one of the questions is related to why I'm as predictable as a tornado right now. So we will get to that. The first one, kind of lighthearted, so we'll break the ice with a nice one that I think there's only one answer to. The question was, if you could erase one of these 3 things, which would it be? And the first answer was Dexter season 8. All of the space horror films, the Jason, the Leprechaun, all of the films that take place in space. And the third option is world hunger, which I don't want anybody hungry. So obviously, seriously, the answer is world hunger. But I would actually, the bottom of those 3 is the space horror movies, believe it or not. As much as I can't stand Jason X, considering what they left off with in Dexter season 7, give me another chance at Dexter season 8. Or if you're just killing Dexter, the series that is, after season 7, I'm kind of okay with that too, because they've missed twice with their endings, not counting the prequel, that is. And Troy, that is the interesting one. Oh, we've got color. We're one step closer to the the Human Centipede trilogy. Christian, why is it gray? So thank you, Christian. The post reads, "Here's one. Here's one for you. Thanks for the Poughkeepsie tape video. That was awesome and drew me down a rabbit hole of the real life killer." See, I'm glad because I, people from the area always talked about, "Oh, that's got to be so and so." I don't want to bring up that person's name for AdSense purposes, but um, a lot of people from the area were like, "Oh, this movie must be about that person." And when you're from the area and it's just like this found footage thing, it's like, "Oh, this could have been Dahmer, but for the real life person." And it kind of, again, only for the people that were in the area, which is a couple of dozen thousand, but it was something of a letdown because there was this real life thing that they could have based that story on, but it was fun. I'm sorry I didn't appreciate it as much as you did, Christian, but I appreciate the executive producing. But yeah, so I answered the which of these could you erase question. So there's that. That's gone. This one, which is somewhat topical. How is your health? Uh, and I don't quite know. We're not quite done. Um, the interesting thing, I'm trying my best not to pay attention to how news in the US is affecting me. Um, but I don't have proper UK insurance. So everything I do here, uh, I have to pay for. So there are some things that I have to still do that um, I have not been able to do. Just throwing medication at putting a band aid on the situation. Um, I may have to dance like a monkey again another time or two um, because we're not quite there yet. I cannot legally work while I'm here in the UK. So yeah, we're not quite there. I do my best to avoid strain, which is again why some of this had to be delayed. If I don't feel it, I don't feel it. It seems like something as silly as walking to a store, even though I think I'm fine. A day or two later, I'll sleep 15 hours and be really lethargic. Every now and again, I get like shooting pains in what feels like my lower rib area, which I guess is where the cavern that used to be or is my gallbladder is. But as far as the UK is concerned, I still have a gallbladder, which is intriguing. Um, Waiting on paperwork from the US, the hospital that allegedly took out my gallbladder. So someone's got splaining to do one way or another. There could be a court case if I'm not supposed to have a gallbladder and it's causing me issues. But in modern day America, who knows what is what? But I'm certainly better than I was in January, but I'm in no way 100%. So it seems like if I strain or do something for longer than an hour or two, I end up paying for it a day or two later. So it seems like anytime I feel like I can do something, I'm wrong. And it's just learning, trying to figure out what I can and can't do, no matter how much my mind is like, yeah, we can go. And then my body just a day later says, yeah, nice, thanks for that. But I'm certainly okay. The most devastating thing is taking my precious corn syrup and making it more of a treat than a daily beverage. It is a big, heavy vice of mine, and evidently, it is one of the culprits. That is devastating for me. Uh, Everybody jokes about me and vanilla Coke. Um, if I want to not feel like I'm getting shot in the stomach every day, I need to curb that. I can't just quit cold turkey. So it's been my weekend treat thing, and it's not even regular vanilla Coke. It's zero. So no sugar. Sugary drinks are apparently bad unless it's coffee, which is what they give you at the hospital, coffee or tea. I have questions, but I will whatever. I'll leave it to the experts. Uh, Dice says you go to a different country and suddenly have another organ. That's an interesting twist. Yeah, I think that's Agent Orange, one of those things. Uh, I don't think I have that right. Agent Orange. Yeah, I've got it wrong. Wait, I meant to click on the other one. Yeah, great. It's weird. I was okay. They make me pay for medication, but anytime, um, like I have to get scanned for something, anytime they use machines, I've got to pay for it. Or what I thought was my insurance has to pay for it, but not naming names. But here we go. Marcy, another one. 45 Danish kroner. Talk. I used to love you, CeePo, but now I fucking despise you and hate you. That's why I'm sending you money. Just kidding. Listen, you can hate me all you want. Just keep sending the cash, especially now. Daddy needs a new gallbladder or a no gallbladder, a double up on my negative gallbladder. So the next one is from Gray. And I think Gray's asked me this in the past, and I don't think I've ever seriously thought about it. If I've answered it, it's not true or haven't really not set in stone. Gray's asked my Mount Rushmore of comedy. And if it's only 4 people, it's very hard. First of all, Charles Patterson is that's the center of my Mount Rushmore. No, I kid. Obviously, I wouldn't want to watch me. That's for sure. Definitely it's George Carlin. And with that said, Richard Pryor is another one. For the last 20 years, I've got to say Bill Burr. And oddly enough, people, I don't know, maybe I may get scoffs for this, but Madeline Kahn, not much of a stand-up comedian, but a comedian all the same. Madeline Kahn has a lot to do with why I started doing stand-up. And I don't know, I can't imagine experiencing any sort of comedic material without her influence on it. See, now, if Mount Rushmore had 10 faces on it, it might be a little bit easier. But you catch me on a different day, and George Carlin is that's never going to change. Richard Pryor is never going to change. I don't know if you could talk me out of Bill Burr because he has such a lengthy career that's been very strong now. I don't know if Madeline Kahn has a certain bit of importance to me, so I have to. Mount Rushmore of Dexter characters. That one's kind of equally as hard. Dokes, Dexter, Derp, Deb. Oh man, Dokes, Dexter, Deb, and it's got to be Trinity. Oh, that's hard. That's really hard. I think Brian Moser would be, not Original Sin Brian Moser, but Brian all the same would be, a runner-up, 5th place, if you will. That's actually quite interesting. I appreciate you asking that, JDev, because that's not something I thought of until just now. So outside of politics, do you prefer living in the United Kingdom or the U.S.? outside of politics, it's impossible to answer because politically speaking, I wasn't able to travel to the UK first. If you remember, I was detained for close to 10 hours due to traveling. And that kind of accelerated things between Emily and I wanting to get on the same rock for a while. And she came out to the US and COVID happened. And then politically speaking, some of the decisions that were made affected us moving forward. And then she had to head back to the UK. And every time I come back here, there's some sort of thing. As far as food is concerned, it's the US. US every day and twice on Sunday. Our living situation, certainly here. The family experience is certainly United Kingdom. The one like glaring thing that I notice more than anything, other than the food, is how do I say this without like offending Americans? Our laws and rules are a bit more lax in the US than in the UK. They're quite strict here. And I'm not saying it's a negative thing. You just kind of you know where you stand in the UK. There's no, gray area where it's like, I didn't know. I've certainly had the I didn't know excuse and was detained for 9 hours. So it seems a bit stricter here, a lot more rules. But I haven't worried leaving the house the way I do in the US. And with my mental health issues, walking around, while way more possible here in the UK for a number of reasons, I don't have the same anxiety. As a matter of fact, I haven't had antidepressants this calendar year, which is saying quite a bit. The ability to walk around and not be stressed out, that's a big plus. Granted, we're not like in busy London or anything, but on the flip side, we weren't really in Manhattan. We were half an hour away from Manhattan. So it depends. For right now, my life is in the UK. There's just paperwork that's holding all of this up. Paperwork and finances. But if I need to eat, it's got to be the US. Everything else, I think I could deal with it and do it happily here in the UK. As much as they don't want me here. It's wild. If you ask me UK, US, or Denmark, I love that country. They love me. At least it seems they did. They've never called me back. But I never had any sort of hiccups in Denmark. And I was at my lowest at that point. And I owe a lot to that country. They could have treated me very differently, and they didn't. Okay. So another one. Troy, thank you. $10 super chat. See, now why is this one yellow, but the other one was gray? I don't understand why this thing. Don't know what a new gallbladder costs, but this can easily go towards the no gallbladder option. Well, I appreciate that. I'd like them to just make this giant scar in my chest worth the while. Like if I don't need one, take it, because I thought that's what they did a couple of years ago. If it's just gonna, make stones and make me feel like I'm birthing, I don't know, a machine gun, just get it out of me. I think part of the catch is I gotta stop drinking soda. They did say sugary drinks, you gotta knock that shit off. So I might be kind of at fault for some of this, but yeah. The only thing that sucks about being here right now is that I don't have the proper healthcare representation that I would if I were a citizen proper. I'd prefer to have this situation, just this situation in the US and have things straightened out and whatever. But I appreciate it all the same. We're getting closer. We might get really close to that a human centipede discussion, which is phew. All right. Money where your mouth is, and my mouth is on the human centipede. It is. All right. So Marcy again, and now it's gray again. What the? So Marcy says my favorite comedian. Excuse me, 89 Danish kroner. Talk. My favorite comedians right now: Bill Burr, Tom Segura. Even though I don't like him lately. Ricky Gervais. Ugh, that's a good one. Jimmy Carr, Stuart Francis. I don't know who Stuart Francis is. Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Gary Delaney, John Mulaney, and Anthony Jeselnik. Anthony Jeselnik, I respect him. Some of the things he said to inquiring minds in the last couple of months or years even, I have a hell of a lot of respect for him because he could say the mainstream appropriate thing and affect his box office. I don't know if that's true, but I have a hell of a lot of respect for him. And yeah, that's quite a list there. There's a couple of names that I don't recognize, but yeah, you used like 15 names. And for the record, Mount Rushmore is only 4 faces for now. The 47th president might be the 5th face, but if not, just taking the other 4 down and just having that one big gold T. But yeah, that's sort of cheating, having that many names. I'm going to change it up for the sake of having you guys hear this.
From penis to vagina.
And there it is. Penis to vagina. Cold hot man. 1999 super chat. Thank you. Money. Wait, do you want the... I hope you had the right audio cue. Is it for you? Yes. I want to know it all. What is the protocol? Marcy also adds, I'm also warming to Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis is quite awesome. Gray says, I love Jeselnik. Wish he stood up for the skanks. I do too. He should stand up for all skanks. Something of a joke, everyone. So here's a question that I don't know if I've answered this in the past. But, a lot of people refuse to just go look in the past and have questions. They don't have 15 years to go past all of my content to see if I've answered a question. So fair enough for certain topics. But they've asked what let me get this right, the genesis of the Kangol hats is. And I have a lot. They didn't ask which colors I have. I know I've answered that. And can we see them? I know I've done that. It's over 20. But I used to wear caps quite a bit. When I was like dressed down, I would wear like caps and a t-shirt, whatever. But 20 years ago, 20 years ago, if I was doing work-related stuff, I didn't wear a hat. Sometimes I would wear a suit or like a snazzy bowling shirt. Like those were a thing in the early 2000s. Not very proud of it now, but it was something when I would do work on the road and do stand-up shows. The shiny bowling shirt, like that was kind of part of the act, part of the gimmick, which I can't watch old videos or pictures of myself and take myself seriously. Didn't wear hats then. The first time I went golfing, I wanted to wear a hat, but I think we were at a club that it's kind of frowned upon to wear like a baseball hat. And I had recently seen that Kevin James had a Kangol hat. And obviously Samuel L. Jackson, like that was a thing that just as long as I've been alive, I've known Samuel L. Jackson to have a Kangol hat. And I saw Kevin James, it might have even been in King of Queens. He had a flipped around Kangol hat while playing golf. And I adopted that look for the sake of playing golf. And I like the fact that you can wear it both ways. I used to wear a Kangol hat backwards, like a lot. And when I golfed, which I golfed, not at all in the last 15 years or so. But if I was doing stuff, stand up in a different part of the country, that was the thing to do to kill time. The internet wasn't quite as big a deal as it is now. And you couldn't just drag video game systems to every hotel room. So golfing. And I like the fact that they're loose. They're not quite as tight on your head. So I just phased out of wearing baseball hats. And as my hairline got further and further back, I just decided to wear hats at all times. And that's been the thing for the last 10 years or so. So the beginning of me wearing Kangol hats was inspired by a combination of Samuel L. Jackson and Kevin James. Seeing that it's not an atrocious look. It's still kind of scummy, but I don't know. It's middle class scummy rather than I don't know. And I liked it, and just the lack of tightness of the cap, the fact that it has give. I don't know. I enjoyed it, and over time, I started looking like Uncle Junior from The Sopranos. And why not lean into it? Start wearing it forwards rather than backwards sometimes. So that's really it. I don't know if I've ever answered it to that level before, but yeah, it started out as a way to wear a hat while golfing, and I just adopted it. Grace says, pretty sure Junior Soprano was around at that time. Yeah, well, the look, this wasn't always the size of my nose. Hockey sucks. Eventually, I grew into the soprano look, the Junior Soprano look. Troy. And now it's gray again. I don't understand. It's the same dollar amount. I don't fucking get it. Best to do it. Carlin, recent gen, Burr and Chappelle, funniest one-off specials in my opinion. Bigger and Blacker, and Mitch altogether. Yeah, if I could do dead ones, well, I've already got 3 of 4. I think Mitch Hedberg would be. I would take Bill Burr out and put Mitch Hedberg in as like my rip group. Thank you for that. Marcy says, I'm not sure if Jimmy Carr looks like Richard Nixon or Jason Patrick. Jimmy Carr doesn't look like Richard Nixon. Maybe just the hair? Oh,
From penis to vagina.
should have done that. Tell me that isn't, that's your Oscar winner for best song. There's no other way. I saw another one. Hayden. And again, it's gray. CeePo, Friday the 13th and 1 and Friday the 13th 5 is indeed the same story. It must be said. Hope your health is improving. Thanks for all the hard work. Much love. Well, thank you. Yes. Thank you, Stiff Kittens. It is a flat cap. Or a vent air, if you must know. It is a Kangol vent air, if that's what the question was truly trying to get to. Another question that I've heard this quite a few times. And the question is, when is there going to be another roast? The better way to word that would be, is there going to be? I have no plans in the immediate future to take on the roast format. Most importantly, because I'm not getting subscribers anymore. No, no, I'm serious. People don't take those things as well as they're intended to be. Um, the old asking for a roast thing, like that's something of a meme with this channel. Uh, the intention was always to like be jovial and just kind of uh, playing rough. And it seems like if I ever did any of those, it was more fuss than it was humorous or fun. That's not to say that people didn't enjoy them. I know people enjoyed them. I know that a lot of the intended recipients of those roasts took it well and gave it back equally as hard. And that was kind of the deal. Uh, it was never meant to be like a punching up thing or a punching down thing or like pointing out anyone's misfortunes. It was kind of a level playing field, let's have fun, congratulations kind of thing. Um, but people either took the material as like serious gripes or thought that like there was no sort of humor involved. And people got offended for the sake of people that maybe weren't offended. It just, the juice isn't worth the squeeze for me. On top of that, since COVID, it's been very hard for me to write material. It's not to say that I wouldn't be able to write material. Um, I I don't know. It's not to say that it won't happen. I mean, Cody's coming up on 250,000, isn't he? Uh, see, Cody is someone that I am confident that he would understand, and it's something that we speak outside of YouTube enough where I might even clear it with him beforehand because he has such a large audience at this time, and people that don't know who I am can take it as some sort of thing that it really isn't. You may notice that I don't really joke negatively with either him or Sean, and it's just not worth it. Where people who don't know the relationship that we have take this thing and suddenly we're answering for something, whether it be myself, Cody, Sean, or there's this weird game of telephone where people are like, who's this asshole who's saying these negative things about you? Um, it's just not worth it. It's to the point where people with a certain audience, I just do that in like DMs or anything. You may see us fart around in like autop streams, debriefs, and things like that. And even then, the chat is like, why did that person say that? And it's not fun. Doing something that's fun for us and the audience is like half not understanding it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to me. So, uh, getting a rise out of people is not really the most important thing. And it's again, it's the juice isn't worth the squeeze. It may change. I don't know, but I don't like how the YouTube audience is reacting to that sort of material, especially between friends. So whatever. It's just too much. Oh, we got a bunch of color here. Um, Marcy, my pitch for Expendables 5, The Cancelables. Written by J.K. Rowling, produced by Weinstein, music by P. Diddy, starring Amber Heard, Armie Hammer, James Franco, Kevin Spacey, and Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal, what did he do? I feel terrible asking that. I mean, J.K. Rowling's just saying a bunch of, I don't know, angsty things. A lot of those names probably shouldn't be working in any of those fields, but I think there's a couple there that could. Scott says roasts are best among friends. The Patrice roast at the Boston Comedy Club is my favorite. Yeah, and that's it. The shame of it is that when friends talk about, when we joke about things and it's something that you'd like to share with an audience, and it's more misinterpreted. It's like, all right, this is why we don't do these things for you, because we're having a good time, and you guys are making it a thing that it isn't. So we're just going to do this in private now. Which blame it on the loud people who don't get jokes. Yeah, Sean, I'm getting to him. Troy says 6 out of 10, but can we brainstorm on something other than centipede? Oh wait. And Troy says pony up if you disagree. I can't believe we're at 60% of the goal already. We keep going. Thoughts on Army Hammer? See, why was thoughts on Army Hammer returning for the comeback action thriller titled The Dark Knight, starring him and Hoffman from Saw films, directed by the guy that made House of the Dead? Uwe Boll? That just sounds dreadful. I'm not a fan of any of that. Yes, Dice, but the problem is, while we will have a good time, some 3 people out of 5 will not appreciate it and think that there's some sort of thing that's happening. And it's, I don't know. I'm not saying never. It's just a lot of it was not worth the effort. It's weird that Chris Stuckman, someone who I don't really know that well at all, understood that I was joking and took it very well. But people that know who I'm friends with jump to bizarre conclusions. Marcy says the new Army Hammer movie is about Army Hammer playing a vigilante, taking the law in his own hands. It might be his version of Batman. Is that like a real thing? Because I don't. Gray says I couldn't think of another trilogy you guys deserve to pick. And here we. Oh man. Replace the Human Centipede trilogy with the highly acclaimed Blood Rain trilogy. And yeah, it seems like we're almost there. You guys are actually gonna. And directed by Bryan Singer. So that one's a little bit harder. Not saying names, but I can imagine at least one individual getting a little uptight. Yeah. Yeah, one. At least one. And
From penis to vagina.
should I hit all of them for that?
Oh yeah, man, I had my shit pushed in, bro, big time.
And lastly,
do me a favor and hold that up so I can see your cock.
Raiders AK, thank you. Just a super chat for the sake of getting it to 10. So we're going to have to discuss trilogies. And I would really appreciate it if we didn't watch the Blood Rain trilogy. I would much rather watch the Human Centipede trilogy than Blood Rain. What does that tell you? Kubrick, Tarantino, Spielberg, Scorsese, Fincher, Nolan, Cameron. Least favorite of the bunch? Least favorite? Jesus, this is brutal. Least, not a very popular opinion, but my least favorite of the bunch. Kubrick? Sorry. There's some Kubrick movies that I am fine not watching. I can't say that for Tarantino. I could say that for Spielberg, especially 21st century Spielberg. Scorsese, I can't say that for. Fincher, a couple. Nolan, I really can't. Cameron, short of anything after Avatar, which it's only like 4 movies. Yeah, there are Kubrick movies that I am all right not watching, and there's a handful, 1 or 2 where I'm not with everybody else. Yes, Troy is right.
From penis to vagina.
Yellow goal reached, golden showers abound. Gray has a trilogy that I can think of. I know Gray, The Shining. It's hard. There's a couple of movies where I don't think I'm like kicking these people out. I still get to watch their movies, right? Marcy says, I'm fucking crying right now. Well, actually, I'm glad that I'm not the 10th spot because then I would have been between 9 and 11. And that's an orange one. But as far as this thing is concerned, it's gray. I don't understand. Could it be, Marcy, that you're not American? Is that why it's gray? I don't know why those boxes are gray. Yeah, you might as well start figuring out what trilogy we're watching. So the 2 options as of right now are Human Centipede and the Blood Rain trilogy. You know, we're going to need to watch the Godfather trilogy before May. Oh, wait, do we know that yet? Spoiler. I don't know if the mods can create a poll, but maybe we keep a running tab. So Gray says, I'm not sure why it's gray. I live in Iowa. Okay, so for some reason, it's the appropriate color sometimes, but sometimes it's gray. And it seems like every time, even with the orange one, not even the yellow one, like Marcy's is gray. I don't know why that is. I'm not doing it, Marcy, I swear. See, you know, like Sean's is green. Why? What happened? Okay. Dice says, cannot create a poll on my end. All right. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 questions without you guys financially influencing it. So once I get through my list, we can get to the meat and potatoes of what the hell you're going to make me sit through. But I appreciate it, guys. I very much appreciate it. My gallbladder or not appreciates it. I might have to do more of this in the future, depending on how many scans I need of my non-existent torso. Well, my torso exists. The organs inside. Whatever. All right, so I did the roast question. Question, when were you most excited for film? This is kind of a weird, forgive me, I just copied these questions. When were you most excited for film? Now, 5 years ago, or 10 years ago? It's kind of hard to answer how excited I am now versus the past. I don't know if I understand the question. But 10 years ago, we didn't get so saturated. Like 10 years ago, I was excited to talk about movies and like look forward to things. 5 years ago is right before COVID. And it was the beginning of the like saturation where it's just like, all right, Endgame happened, now what? And now I don't know if, I can't say that, I mean, comedy doesn't exist right now as far as mainstream films are concerned. And everything feels like it's a franchise. So oddly enough, I'm not that excited right now. I might say 10 years ago. And 10 years ago is probably the perfect time frame if we're going by fives. I think 15 years ago, I maybe wouldn't have been. You know, I did stand up before I went to film school. And after film school, I had a couple of big time movies that I was like, Oh, okay, I don't wanna just tell jokes on the screen. I don't wanna write jokes for the screen. There's more to this. And movies like laugh all you want, movies like Sherlock Holmes, and Inception, Inglorious Bastards, Django Unchained, Shutter Island. That was the Scorsese movie of that little period there. Those were big time movies that, while I wouldn't say they're very important as far as my morale and excitement is concerned. Well, certainly Inception. That is my number one movie of all time. Uh, that period, that 2008, 9, 10, 11, that really got me to look in a different direction as far as entertainment is concerned, both creating it and receiving it. But of the 5 years, 10 years ago is probably the most excited I've been. I mean, YouTube was a thing in 2008, 9, 10, 11, and I wasn't about making a YouTube channel then. So I don't know. I was still making shit, not finishing and producing shit out of school. Um, again, different color of the box, but it's still gray. Marcy, you're cursed, I think. Marcy says, F star king racist YouTube. They make me gray because I'm Danish. And now I got a racist encounter story to tell people. Just kidding. Scott has an interesting opinion. 2010s is the worst movie decade. I think the 2000s were kind of skank. Like 2001, 2, 3, 4. Crash won Best Picture in 2005. Not the best for sure. Yeah, the one thing, like, to kind of take this question and that statement and twist it a bit, I would love to have the 80s slate of films with 6 years ago internet. Like, I would love to experience buzz and, excitement for, just drop us in the middle of 1981 and just that slate of movies without really knowing what we have ahead of us. Like, I would love to experience for the first time Back to the Future with the internet, which is wild because damn well there'd be at least 30% of people just hating on it. I don't know if I want today's audience with the 80s or maybe bring the internet to the 80s, but people would complain about the fact that Doc is a little too old to be hanging out with Marty. Some ridiculous reasons to hate on it. I don't think I've thought this out properly because I would like to have the excitement of the 80s incorporated in the communities that we have. Because I really enjoyed getting fired up for movies and talking about movies and hearing other people who I appreciate their opinion discuss movies. It's gotten really kind of unfun. And considering how the experience isn't as noteworthy either, it really is just a bunch of letdowns. Like, there's maybe one or two movies. That's not fair. There's maybe 1 to 5 movies that are just like extremely, you have to see them. And they're not even, 2 of those may not even have buzz. And that's kind of crummy. There's more like mid and just complaining about what we don't have, which we don't have a lot of good films. That's fair. But I'm not a big fan of modern day movie internet space. Yeah, no. Sean says, "Don't worry, Back to the Future remake is coming one day." Well, Zemeckis will have to be dead for that. So, the MCU overload and the Star Wars sequels disaster tainted the 2010s. And the question was, when were you most excited for film? So if we go 10 years ago, it would be 2015, February of 2015. Force Awakens didn't happen yet. I quite enjoy Force Awakens. I would like to experience that time again because the lead up was exciting. That opening night was exciting. A week later, less so. I think that was the first time I heard the term Mary Sue was for Rey. We can't have nice things. Anywho. And some of the complaints were it's too much like something we've seen already. And then Last Jedi happens, and then it's too different. There's no winning. There's no winning. Next question. Wait, did I get I got the most recent one, right? Oh, yeah, the racist YouTube. Just keep tugging at my AdSense. Question, can you cover other TV series like you do Dexter? I don't know if I'm just chasing a trend with the Dexter content, but I have a video on Lost that did well for a weekend and hasn't come close to hitting 1,000 views. I'd like to, if there's an audience for it. It seems to be with my content, especially with the Dexter stuff, and not even clinging to Cody. The season 5 video I did was quite strong for this channel, so I'll keep doing that. I would love to do stuff on Lost. I know Louise wants me to do something on the final episode of Sopranos. I don't know if I'll do that before everything else from The Sopranos, but I've never watched The Wire. I own the entire series. So who knows? I know Brian is halfway through both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I need to finish Better Call Saul, but I wouldn't mind doing Breaking Bad content. This isn't my full-time gig, and putting a lot of effort into it, especially when I'm with my wife. I don't want to put so much into it, with all due respect to all of you. I mean, today you've earned the right to tell me what the hell to do, but with some of this content that has weeks, sometimes months of prep and production put into it, for it to only have like 400 views, it's just not worth it to me. I don't know if it would be worth it in any other sphere, but it depends. I would like to. Certainly The Sopranos, certainly Lost. I wanted to do a bunch of things on Lost, but I guess the most cold-hearted thing I could say to you is, if you'd like to see me do more things like that, share my content. And either that or tell me what doesn't work for you and do it in the comments. Because with just a small amount of views and no interactivity, I just won't do anything. It's like, oh, okay, doesn't work. Next. I missed one. I'm sure of it. Gray again. Marcy says, I shared with my Snapchat AI that I get bullied at school because I'm in a wheelchair, and it said that I should stand up for myself. Because I'm not walking away with this, I have to roll with it. Maybe Snapchat was, maybe the AI was trying to be cute. You Danish, you guys go hard with your jokes. It keeps reminding. I don't know if you've seen this, Marcy, but small town killers. I don't know what the Danish title is. I'm not even going to try to say it, but I keep meaning to rewatch that because there's some racy humor in there that I don't think Americans could pull off. And I wanted to use it for a reference to how comedy, I mean, that movie's already 5 or 6 years old at this point, but American comedy, that's it. Yes, whatever, and now it's blue. Whatever this word, the American title of this movie is Small Town Killers. And there's some interesting humor in there. And I wanted to do something on the state of comedy. And that was one of the things I was thinking of. There's a cab driver, and there's some material that I don't think you could do in a mainstream American film. I'm going to run out of liquid at this stage. Next question. When is the next music stream? That's a good question. That's quite topical. Soon. It seems like every time I plan something, my body decides to intervene. But there's supposed to be a stream with myself, Gray, Cody, and Rudy, something of a sequel to our Metallica stream where we're talking about bands that have continued to make music even though they've lost their lead singer. I think we were going to open with dead lead singers, like Linkin Park was something of the transitional segue piece for that. AC/DC, Alice in Chains, things like that. And maybe over the course of the stream transition into, other musicians in the band or bands that have changed singers, but the singer didn't die. Like Journey. You know how much you guys love Journey. Jonah asks, is Charlie Boy finally launching his OF stream? We keep letting it rain yellow on me. Yep, golden shower on CeePo. Yeah, I might make that happen. Sean says comedy's in the toilet because everyone has become Brian on comedy. Got to love in Bruges. What are you starting shit for? Stiff Kittens, thank you. Yours is blue. Gotta watch Human Condition. Excuse me. We've got a bunch of human trilogies. Human Condition trilogy and American Pie. What are we adding a caveat that I have to watch 4? Or are you talking about the American Pie trilogy? Ooh. Troy, thank you for your
From penis to vagina.
Thank you for your renewed membership. Park Chan Vengeance trilogy, please. I am all over that, and that's pretty funny because you're a question away. That there's something topical there, but I would like that. But considering I would like that, you guys will not make that happen. Now it's green. What'd you do? I'm not doing anything, very clearly. I got a lighter one, so my friend got sawed in half yesterday as he's all right, but there's nothing left. Get it? Yeah. He's all right, but there's nothing left. Isn't that the joke that was told in Romulus? There was a couple of he dad jokes that were from Alien Romulus. Or maybe he was lean to the left or something. Yeah, I've seen some variation on that. The next question is, again, this is Cody related, I guess. Is there ever going to be return of Dead Air, which is the podcasty stream on Cody's channel? We haven't done that in a while. He's, with each passing day, he's much busier and much more popular. Anytime you see him on this channel, he's doing me a supreme favor. Me being on his channel, because he's a full-timer, is a disservice to his bottom line. I'm obviously up for it. I think we've talked about it every 2 months or so. Like Dice and I, keep meaning to do the reaction commentary to the Gorgon. And it's my fault. I just, I know I need to, but don't get around to it. He's very busy, and you probably get that every time we're in a stream together. I don't know if there'd be anything topical where Cody and I and or Rudy and or Sean and or Brian. It's essentially like our top stream light. I don't know anything that's like urgently topical that needs to be dead air. That was kind of we're stuck in our houses, and let's BS for a little bit. It was a podcasty thing where everyone was stuck at home. But yeah, I don't know how much more special that would be than, us talking Dexter last weekend or whatever. So I'm not telling you to ask him. It's not something that is urgent, immediate. We've talked about it, but my schedule is lighter than his. That's what I'll say. He's a busy boy, and I'm not going to tell him, "Hey, stop with the touring the country and make this 2-hour stream with me so we can talk about, fart jokes." Because I'm not bringing the audience, that's for sure. But a neuther one, and it's gray again. Sean says, "That's a joke. I'm more on Brian's wavelength with comedy." That's not something people should admit, is that they're on Brian's wavelength for comedy, because I don't think Brian and comedy are two words that ever really know how to touch. But okay. Anyway, I like the more comedy drama than the pure comedy is struggling because people are too sensitive nowadays. Yeah, just big budget studios they're afraid to spend money and get backlash. Honora works for some of that reason. Evening, Adam. Would have been here earlier, but didn't know you were streaming. Yeah, this was supposed to happen 2 days ago and yesterday and now. Thank you again, everyone, for the massive overflow. I should have made it. I don't know. What's the biggest target you can make? 100? 100 out of 100? Well, we're almost done. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 preloaded questions, and then we can get to the trilogy talk. And this is topical to a question or two ago. What was the last Korean movie you saw? Are you still covering Korean movies? The last Korean movie I saw may have been the Wailing again. Am I still covering Korean films? I'm watching them, not quite as actively as I'd like to. Oh, you know what? That's not true. It's not The Wailing. It's Decision to Leave. I may have that all wrong. But doing content around it those are videos that once again, until I figure out how to speak about films that Americans haven't heard of, they get like staggered views. If you go back and watch any of the Korean film content, I think the most views I have on something is like the Chaser video, and that's only got like 1,500 views. Granted, it's a video that 20 people watch it a month or whatever, but it's hard to steer into a direction that you just know isn't going to get attention. So, am I watching Korean movies? Yes. Would I like for the trilogy stream to be the Vengeance trilogy? Absolutely. Do people get drawn to it? No. So that last question decides a lot of what I put on this channel, oddly enough. We're still going. Sean says, I don't consider In Bruges a comedy, though. Well, you're not Team Brian, then. Jonah asks, what new releases have you seen in 2025 thus far? Only 4. Companion, I finally saw. Thanks, patrons. Popeye's Revenge, I saw. That is currently my worst film of the year. Again, I get tortured for money. Kind of Pregnant. The fact that that's not on my bottom is just ridiculous. Flight Risk and Wolfman. It hasn't been a very strong year. Companion is my favorite movie, like by a long shot. Oh, Den of Thieves 2, which I've basically forgotten already. So there's the list. I think it's only 6 films long. Not in any rush to see Captain America. That's for certain. Cold Hot Man says, Eating Raoul is one of the best comedies I've seen, though is quite dry. How recent is Eating Raoul? Is that somewhat recent? I haven't been to a movie theater since August. Oh, I haven't been to a movie theater in a very long time. Yes, Scott, very accurate. Asian cinema has blown Hollywood away in the 21st century. I would fully endorse that statement. Even though my favorite film ever is a Hollywood film from the 2010s. Yes, I agree. Okay, what else do we got here? All right, so I guess I'll rearrange this. We have 3 left. And is there going to be any more who would like that, comma, will you revisit Caligula? So Caligula, they redid it. Apparently there's a new director's cut. I don't know how you just make new cuts of a movie 50 years after the fact. But it's been like retouched up and all this other stuff in 4K. I'm not going to say no. If you want to send me the updated version of Caligula, I'm your dancing monkey. But as far as who would like that, yes, there's going to be more. The next one will be Happiness, and Emily's helping me with that one. And there's a couple of others that are kind of just trying to figure out how to make it fun and funny. The last couple of who would like that videos have been theme of the episode, less strong on the performance factor. I don't, the who would like that videos normally they take their time. But the most recent ones haven't crossed 1,000 views yet. And this is going back to 2023 now. They're normally content that was pretty steady to get thousands of views. But I think I've watched all of the hotbed ones that people search for at all times. I may sooner redo one of those videos because I really do not like, I don't like a lot about my recording style and delivery in the early 2020s. You can tell I'm on antidepressants because I'm much more slower and pronounced. And maybe you can't, but I can. And it's frustrating because I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that has happened in those times that I know what was going on in my life at that time or in my head. And some of the content was ambitious, but the person in front of it wasn't. So I would like to redo some of those, if anything. But yeah, we'll see. Jacob,
From penis to vagina.
Blu-ray. Why does it say that? New member. Oh, new member. I don't think you're a new member. This is a lie. That's not true. Jacob's been a member for a while. Jonah asks, thoughts on Wolfman? I'm in the minority. It feels, I loved it. I loved its mix of horror and tragedy. I am not in agreement with you. I was incredibly bored. I was actually quite shocked at how unbusy it was. And it never really got me, I don't even want to say excited. It never really got me interested. It just, I don't know. It was something of a major letdown. And after seeing it, it's like, oh, okay, this is why they pushed it back from October. It's not the least favorite thing I've seen. It's right in the middle right now. I've seen 6 movies. It's right in the middle. Not the worst thing I've seen. Not the best thing. It's just unfortunately forgettable, which is something I really, if you told me this time last year that I would forget Wolfman within 2 months, I'd be like, what the hell happened? Next question. What makes 31 on 31 so special to you? I don't know what that exactly means. It's special to a lot of us. 31 on 31. So somebody else asked something, and I'm not trying to be about drama. They brought up a moment that I'm not proud of, but I don't mind being a team player when it comes to Top Stream and the 31 on 31. It's special to me because it's something that we did together and we're still doing. The title 31 on 31, which is what somebody was alluding to, it is it's my contribution to the idea. And when people think that 31 on 31 is just ranking movies on Halloween, it kind of offends me that something as simple as 31 films on the 31st, like it's kind of straight and to the point. And someone told me that they're doing something different with the format, and kind of shrugged off the fact that 31 on 31 was not 31 films on the 31st. And at that point, you're not doing what our thing is. So it's special to me because it's something that we've created, and I don't think there's anything that I've done as far as content is concerned year after year after year. And it's something of an event. And this special nature is, this group that we have. Like it's its own event, and I have contributed a piece to it. But it's some of my favorite people talking about things that are fun. It's everything I like about making content. It's fun. It's got a decent response. I've contributed something as far as creatively is concerned. The title is kind of my thing, but I don't say that publicly, even though I just said it now. I guess being the smallest channel out of the group sure my audience doesn't resemble anyone else's, but I'm an important piece to that puzzle. Maybe not anymore, but the title. I'm one of the people from Social Network that my name needs to be on the shit. What was it called? I forgot what it was called. Where mantle, headrest, headstone. I don't remember what the hell the thing's called, but I need to have my name on the Facebook headrest. Jonas says 31 on 31 live streams give off vibes of buddies at a bar, which I find highly entertaining. Yeah. And that's being creative for the sake of the theme of the video, which takes months. Like, we talk about these things years in advance. And, watching these movies and, like, having some sort of creative thing to it. It's exciting to me. Being creative is a major reason why I do these things. And when it pays off with appreciation or people saying things, that's awesome. But that's just like a bonus, because I'm not full time like these guys are. So it's just kind of me having fun, being a little creative, and hanging out with friends, doing things that I always wanted to do as far as YouTube is concerned. And it's special to me. So when people think of it as a plain old ranking video that you could just mix and match things and then just call it 31 on 31 because, the algorithm's going to assume that it's somehow associated with Cody Leach. That offends me. Where if you're not going to take the time out to understand what the thing is, don't try to coattail ride. I don't know if that's what you meant by special, but I've kind of. Yeah. So there's that. And I do appreciate those of you who compliment the editing. And it's those comments that make me want to do far more with the silly, nonsensical things that I do in those videos. Because I'm at a stage where I don't want to stand in front of the camera anymore. Certainly not scripted shit. Jonas says, whoa, that's small font. I think you're genuinely diminishing your own contribution. I'm not sure how much big audience, small audience plays into it. The social dynamic is the most interesting part. And you're a founding father. Yeah, see, what you said, that is why it's special to me. Take all of my mouth garbage and just reassess it into that sentence. Okay, so last question before we can discuss my punishment. So someone marked the time code because this is the saucy one, and I refuse to mention certain things that were lined up. So the one question that was asked, and I'll read it the way it's written, and it omitted certain things, so I kind of like this. The question is, why do you squash beef with some people, i.e. Gray, but have lingering stuff from the Will I Like It days? I like that question, even though you kind of threw Gray under the bus. And I could have not read that name, but it's an interesting question. And I've heard some sort of variation of that over the course of time. For those of you who don't know, mentally, I'm still a work in project. Work in process. Did I say project? See? You've experienced me go through a lot of stuff. A divorce, international living situation, a new wife, a terrible worldwide famine that eventually had to split us. Just a bunch of mess. At that time that you're referencing, the Will I Like It days, I wasn't the best mentally. I didn't handle certain things that a particular year in question. I thought, well, what I thought wasn't what everyone else thought. I thought that certain relationships were certain things, and kind of got slapped in the face, figuratively, that there wasn't the way I felt about something wasn't the same that someone else felt about it. And there are people that you may think of as nice and friendly uh, on the screen that I would argue against, outside of public view, where I feel like a misconception about me is that I'm an ogre and I'm like that outside of YouTube. It's not fair. I'm not entirely an ogre. I would say it's something of an inverted situation too, where you think someone is a dreamboat, both on camera and outside of outside of YouTube. And I don't know, you think I'm a sexist pig at all times, and not really fair, but whatever. Why do you squash beef? Listing Gray is interesting because Gray very publicly said that he was sorry a handful of times, and I didn't need that from him. And things about certain relationships, I don't mind when someone says something about me and it's just surface level shit. Like, Gray didn't know me. They didn't know me when they said those things. And the same could be said in the other direction. I said things that I'm not proud of, and I certainly apologized for. It's a bigger deal to me if you do know me and you say things that are either hurtful or untrue. That's a bigger deal to me. It's a lot easier for me to, squash beef, as the term that was used is. It's a lot easier to squash beef if there's a misunderstanding about the person on a screen. And again, it's a flip side. It's an inversion. The stuff that you're referencing, there were people that I thought that I was extremely close to. And the amount of things I got blamed for was kind of appalling. I thought I was very close, very friendly with some of these people, and that could not be further from the truth. I didn't handle things well. I'm not proud of that period. And certainly wasn't my most focused, not my best mental health version of myself. Did I overreact and do things that I would kind of like to take back? Yes, of course. The one thing that I will say, as far as I've gone over the line, I wasn't lying. My issue all this time later is there have been some things said and inherited about me that are not true. And if I've done something wrong, I will say I did something wrong. There's plenty of times where that happens. It'll happen again in the future. The thing that digs at me is the amount of credit that some great friendly people get for just whatever. And I, I don't deserve some of those lies that are out there. There's one that like really, I don't know how it still exists and how it wasn't shot down. But it's easy to summarize this. It's very easy for me to build from nothing. You know, again, to use Gray, and I Gray is one of the closest people I have to me right now. We started at a negative spot, but it was two people that didn't know each other that were just, speaking at the perceived person on screen. We spoke. We actually got into a stream and spoke, and I have respect for Gray because Gray doesn't feel the need to agree with me, and we can still disagree and have respect for one another. That's something that you guys laugh at, Brian and I, but we get heated, we disagree, but when it's over, it's over. Of course, it's performative to a degree, but someone that loves you will be able to tell you this is wrong. Someone that doesn't really look out for you will tell you, yeah, everything's great when they don't think that. And someone that really needs to be on a negative level in my book is someone that will blame you for their problems. I really would like to avoid that in the future. People who say, oh, I've always been wondering, you guys don't like to talk about it. We have talked about it. We've talked about it plenty of times. You're not looking hard enough. If you know this at this point to ask about it, you're not looking hard enough because it's all over. The only thing I will say is it's a lot easier for me to talk to someone if they're being a straight up respectable human being. Hey, I screwed up. I'm sorry. Let's move on from this. It's a lot worse. It's a lot more painful when you think you're confiding in someone and they're not responsible enough to handle their own shit and they blame you. Again, I didn't handle that situation well at all. Those situations well at all. I maybe gave away a little too much, but I was very hurt. Again, what you cannot say about me is that I was lying. I could say that about some of the perceived things that I did. And it's kind of a bummer that such great people just let those lies permeate out there. If someone brought up a rumor that Cody was sleeping with Emily, I would squash that, like, very quickly. Besides, Cody's going to have to sleep with me first. Okay. All right, we're done. We're done with the hot topics. What do we have here? When did I start? We could end now, or we can go to 45 past or on the hour, because I'm out of go-go juice here. Hopefully that I saved the most hot topic for last, but I don't know why does it matter anymore? The stuff that very clearly is being referenced is from years ago. It's from the 2010s. What? I don't know. Help me. Ty says, wait, I thought Cody had slept with you. No, shut up. I'm with the missus right now. I can't. Adam, why is that font so small? Adam says, this goes back to my favorite quote, good men mean well. We just don't always end up doing well. Ergo, everyone is human. And as humans, we mean well, but we make mistakes. We make errors. It happens. Yeah. I'm far from perfect. I was very, very touched, and I smeared my feelings onto a bunch of live streams. Not proud of it. I've had years of therapy, and I'm not giving that situation that amount of credit. But that was a divorce, a separation, a deceased relative. That was a lot of shit that got smeared out, and to get blamed for things that I mean well. When I to bring it back to YouTube, when I criticize a film, I'm being honest. I would hate for someone to, as an artist, I would hate for someone to tell me that my material is good when they don't think that. Because why would you, like, how can I fix that? And why would you keep telling me that? But how do I fix what I mean, granted, there are some people that I wouldn't give their opinion on comedy and how I did much weight, but I'd want people to be honest. I don't know what favor you're doing for someone by being polite. Being polite is, hey, I realize that this stuff is important to you. This stuff didn't work for me. But yeah, I digest. Dia says, how about this? It's not that you did or didn't squash beef. How about the fact that unsaid people gaslit and manipulated you just like their audience? Yeah. I don't know. I'm a nobody. Like, I've paid. I've paid in popularity. I don't want to be a part of a certain community if that's what's going to happen. I made my bed. I know that. But kind of gross. That situation's kind of gross. Jonah. Why is that taking so long? How much longer are you in the UK? I can imagine it be a tough not to be in the same country as your soulmate. And I'm sure you'll miss Emily too. Yeah. If my health kicks up, I might be here a little longer. But for at least the next month plus. We'll see. We'll see how politics goes in the US. I might be here a little bit longer. Or not. I might be going to Spain or something. Both American-speaking countries don't want... Actually, I'll be going to Denmark. I know they'll have me. At least the country will. I don't know. Lots of super chats. Must be a full moon. No, I know what it is. I teased the... well, everyone in this community is very nice, and I appreciate you helping the anti-gallbladder fund. I might, depending on how things go, I might have to grovel again in the future. I appreciate that. But I do think the fact that the torture Charles through a trilogy, that aspect, you guys like putting me through pain. I mean, supporters, if anything, you guys either send money, the content itself, or both, and make me suffer for your pleasure. So we can get to that discussion now as we've cleared that goal. We can take some ideas for the live stream trilogy, and then we can do some sort of voting process. Because I wouldn't want to patrons and channel members will obviously be able to vote. But the ideas will be listened to at this point. And Dice says, if you go to Denmark, fucking take me with you. Yes. With the fuckery in America, any chance you could request to stay here? If my medical debt is at 0, yes. I can't have a balance and ask to stay, especially for like medical purposes. There's a chance. I mean, there's fuckery. Don't get me wrong. I've already had a hurdle or two to traverse. Like my family's here. If it weren't for paperwork and having travel documents be in bad standing, I'd be here. The only thing that's really keeping us apart at this point is paperwork. My life is here. But if you're watching this, if you're a border patrol agent in the United Kingdom, I have every intention on going home. I'd like to stay. That doesn't mean that I'm going to stay past when you want me to leave. I would like to stay. If you'll have me, I appreciate it. I'm not expecting you to fucking support me in any way financially. Just let me stay. But I'm going. I'm going home when I'm supposed to. They're going to watch this and they're going to show it to me and make me explain myself. And then I'll be sitting in the airport for 12 hours and then they're going to tell me to go home. Sean says, the U.S. is great. How dare you? Yeah, not to criticize, but I don't have sympathy for you guys and girl made your bed. I didn't make anything. New York voted for someone else. So yes. Fair enough. Not every American was an idiot. Yeah. And yes, others made it for them. Listen, I don't care who's doing the work, but they're not doing a great job at all. I'm not a billionaire, so it's been a net loss for me. Jonas says, but don't authorities not have guns in the UK? I don't want to find that out. What would your border patrol even say? You better leave or else we will ask you to leave again. They'll fly me out. They flew me out the time that I was 9 hours. They let me, they denied my stay, but they let me, I was supposed to come for 7 days. And they denied my entry, but let me stay for a day. So my 7-day trip was reduced to a 2-day trip, even though I was in the airport for half a day. So it was essentially a 1-day trip, and I had to be back at the airport at like 5 a.m. And they were flying me out. I would hope that the fact that I came back would show them some sort of something that, like, I'm not trying to screw anybody over, just trying to stay within the rules. But yeah, they'll deport you. It's America and the UK for now. For now, there's extradition between those two countries. And, I don't want Emily in the US under the current regime. Because that regime is the reason all of this kicked off. That's the reason we're both split right now. So going back to the U.S. to finish that, I don't think you'll see Emily in the U.S. until at least 2028. But our stuff is here. her family's here. I can do what I do here. And what I do is slowly die, apparently, or quickly, depending on what day of the week it is. We don't have to talk about politics, though. I don't know how this descended into that. And one of the questions was not counting politics. Yes, all hockey games should be USA versus Canada. Brawls and hockey. That you don't know hockey because brawls are hockey. All right, so let's get the trilogy up there. What do we have? We have Blood Rain. Human Centipede. I'm going to count it. Human Condition. I should have made that like 50 super chats. Or a time restraint. Human Condition. The Godfather, because that could kill two birds for me. I'm putting The Godfather in there, even though that's pretty long too. And the Vengeance trilogy. You guys aren't going to watch a Korean trilogy with me. Just future reference for the future. I'll probably have another target, a goal thing for that too. Again, I cannot legally work while I'm here. Do need to pay medical bills though. So your donations are appreciated. And I have nothing else to say. Trilogies, guys, trilogies. Yeah. Yeah, and it quite impacts both of us. Del Toro trilogy. Is there a legit Del Toro trilogy? No, those don't count. Pan's Labyrinth, Chronos, and Devil's Backbone. That's not a legit trilogy. I don't even know if Blood Rain is a legit trilogy. Back to the Future would be fun, huh? A nice trilogy that I've seen plenty of times and would love to just BS through. We'll do 2 more minutes, guys, because you guys have watered up. I guess you all were sticking around for the last question, it seems, and you're out of here. Sorry to not fulfill your needs, but there's a reason we don't talk about that stuff anymore. It's over. It's over unless someone wants to be a grown up. We're not covering that shit anymore. It's the past. Back to see. Thank you. Look, looks like Dice is suggesting Back to the Future, so I'm going to write that one down. Jonas says no Back to the Future. We don't want you to have fun. Vengeance trilogy beats Godfather trilogy for the simple fact that the third movie doesn't suck at. Shots fired. Omen. There's more than 3 of those. Hope you're feeling better after your gallbladder situation. It's still ongoing. Thank you. Apparently, I still have one, and it's making stones. So we'll be able to build a, I don't know, something with my gallstones, which hurt. Did you answer favorite director? I thought you super chatted it and told me to remove one. My favorite director. I mean, it's tough because right now, looking forward, it's Edgar Wright because he's not fucking 80 years old. Scorsese's awesome. Tarantino hasn't really missed. Nolan, I think Fincher is not one I would really. He's missed a couple of times. We just watched Seven again recently. Man, that movie fucking slays. Yeah, so we're counting Back to the Future. The new-ish Planet of the Apes trilogy. I don't hate those movies. That is something I wouldn't mind sitting through. There's only 3 theatrical omens. The 4th was a TV film. No, then the rest were reboots. I don't know. Edgar Wright, interesting choice. He's my last hope for comedy, and he's put such incredible things on the screen. And he's answered my questions on social media, so I'm cheap. Parker Finn is killing it so far. Mm-hmm. I have an idea for a trilogy. I found a collection of movies from Walmart. Jaws 2, 3, and 4. All the Jaws movies except the good one. They have to be like a trilogy, not a, Police Academy 5, 6, 7. Looking forward to The Running Man November 7th. Yes. How about we sit the demisexual through some 70s lesbian vampire films? That would be fun. Everyone thinks I'm a sexist pig where we're just playing right into it, covering lesbian vampire movies where I'm just could not be less turned on. Have you seen Twins of Evil with Peter Cushing? Plus identical Playboy twins. I have not. Despite Jurassic World trilogy, what about the original Jurassic Park trilogy? That doesn't count as a trilogy because there's 6 of them. And a 7th one coming. I mean, we currently have 7. Blood Rain, Human Centipede, Human Condition, The Godfather, The Vengeance Trilogy, Back to the Future, and Planet of the Apes. Someone saw the bat signal. Did someone say sexist pig? Yes, Rudy B.
From penis to vagina.
The greatest song in Oscars history. Well, there's Vampiros Lesbos, which you can see a vampire sunbathe on a beach. That's not how vampires work, though, is it? It is pretty accurate. It's pretty funny timing. Yeah, that's so they asked. One of the questions, Rudy, was when the music thing is happening, and I reminded them that it's mostly my fault. But we're supposed to be talking about what appears to be Linkin Park from the start, but going into bands that have continued on with without their lead singer, and that'll no doubt water down into other topics. I was expecting to see Rudy a few minutes earlier when discussing the lesbian vampires. It takes a minute for him to realize that the signal's up. And Rudy says I have a Vampiros Lesbos shirt. Why am I not surprised? Vampire Lovers and Daughters of Darkness are peak lesbian vampire cinema. Why is there do I want the answer? Why is there a subgenre of lesbian vampire films? Why does it have to be lesbian vampires? Why couldn't they be lesbian werewolves? I guess that's ginger snaps. Why is there a subculture, a subgenre of lesbian vampire movies? You know, one of you clowns sent me the struggle snuggle of the vampires, which is an old French film, and it was pretty gnarly. Because in the 70s, everyone was into lesbian vampires. All right. See what happens when you don't have the internet? Reasons. Oh, I thank you, and I know you were. I'm pretty sure it was you that asked a very similar question during the Dexter stream. Thoughts on The Sopranos? Brilliant show. The more I go back to it, the more I kind of take my anger away from this series finale. Of the choices that you listed, I would certainly take Sopranos over Sons of Anarchy. I think you had a tag to that question too, and I don't remember what it was. Was it about The Wire? I own The Wire, the entire series. I have not watched it. It's one of those things where I know I need to. That Oz I do not own, but I know I need to watch it. But Sopranos is something that I keep toying with the idea of doing something with it. Literally, somebody asked about television content, and Sopranos would be one of the things that I would cover. Sopranos is like top 5 for me ever. There has to be a lesbian Frankenstein's monster movie out there, right? If not, they're about to make it now. Thank you for the super chat, Gaz. Cray says Rob Zombie made Werewolf Women of the SS close enough. Why the SS? What are we doing? Daughters of Frankenstein. Sons of Anarchy's best isn't even as good as Sopranos' worst. I could entertain that argument. I would need to refresh myself. I own that series. I think the strongest time for television is the mid 2000s to the early 2010s. I think once Walking Dead jumped the shark in the mid 2010s, you know, quality TV wasn't so big a deal anymore. Because it seems like between 2005 and 2015, you had really, really good runs from really good TV shows. And Sons of Anarchy is in there. And like, you could say it's not as good as Breaking Bad or Sopranos. Sure, but man, it's still strong. It's a really, really overflowing time period for really good television content. It's kind of a bummer that TV isn't what it is anymore. How about Frankenstein plus Bride of Frankenstein plus Son of Frankenstein? So the family of Frankensteins is 2017 was the last banger year for TV. Trying to think what was still on in 2017. I had tapped out of I tapped out of Walking Dead by then. Westworld was already being something less than good. What the hell else was going on in 2017? I know Walking Dead was still going. Game of Thrones was still going on, but I was already gone by that year. It's wild. If you had an HBO or Showtime subscription in the mid 2000s, it really paid for itself. Like, Weeds turned into shit on Showtime, but when it was good, it was good. Not putting up against things like Sopranos, but it was a comedy. It was interesting. You watch it now, you're like, wait, weed was illegal? Um, Adam says the Arrowverse was in full swing by then. Oh, is that on CW11? Weeds was good, but it does not hold up. Right. And the more, like, what is it, 6, 7, 8 seasons? I think the first 3 are strong. And yes, it does not age well, but I enjoyed watching it at the time. And if that's the worst of like that period, it's saying something because I'll take all right Weeds now versus fuck, I don't know. It shows how much television I'm not watching. I don't know. To me, Sons of Anarchy was trash TV. Grey's Anatomy for dudes. Slow down, Jacob. You're just showing your lack of motorcycle taste is all. It's Sopranos for motorbike gangs, sort of. Grey's Anatomy for dudes. That dude. The cast elevated. All right, possibly. I dug it. Didn't they have like a spin-off series that I have not watched an episode of? Showtime shows have uncanny ability to nosedive in quality halfway through the series. Dude, Nurse Jackie is a series I loved for a very long time. And it seemed like the last season or 2 were very, very bad. And I hate that. Have you binged apple cider vinegar yet? Loved. Are you talking to me? Because loved it, but scary as fuck. Woman actually did this. Great take on the this is based on a true story tag. Grey's Anatomy is literally the ER show that will not die. Is it still on? Jesus. Hi, Cody.
From penis to vagina.
That one's for you, Cody. Cody wants to know shaved or unshaved. Well, the carpet matches the drapes as of right now. And Gray answering, saying full bush. I don't know if he's letting you know what his situation is or mine, but they're both right. Or at least one of them's right. Let you figure out. 70s bush. And Jonah wants, don't you already know the answer, Cody? Thank you again. 349 New Zealand, I want to say. Dollars. NZ's got to be New Zealand, right? Also, were you a fan of Supernatural seasons 1 through 5? It's been a while. I enjoyed it. I'm trying to think when like I stopped giving a shit because that one went on for a while too, right? Didn't it go for like 10? It went on for a while. I think I was a fan. Seasons 1 through the fact that you specified seasons 1 through 5 makes me think that yes, I was a fan of it. I do remember like falling off towards the end. And I know there was more than 5 seasons. So yes, to your question, I say yes. Okay, 2017 was Twin Peaks season 3, Glow, Better Call Saul, Fargo, Horace and Pete, underrated, Louis C.K., Steve Buscemi show. Yeah, I never caught on with Twin Peaks. Better Call Saul. I know I need to finish. Fargo, I've quite enjoyed that quite a bit. Other than that, I have nothing. Cody says, I was just asking what was under the hat, you sick fucks. Which hat? If the carpet matches the drapes, does that mean you have a Kangol down there too? Of course I do. And it matches. 15 seasons. Oh yeah, so yeah. Yeah, the first third, I do remember that. So was I. I assume that you and CeePo had braided each other's hair a couple times. Oh yeah, I've slept in his house. And his house is a metaphor. His house is also code for his throbbing crank. Buffy reboot, yay or nay? But the series or movie? Because they've done both now. The movie's kind of sort of painful. The series was a little hokey. That's early 2000 stuff. I don't know. If you're asking, would I want a remake? Sure. Sure, because Hollywood has no new ideas. I already beat you to it. I heard you did more than sleep. I'm becoming a big David Lynch fan. Too late, Rudy. It's all over. He's not making any new ones. What's your favorite David Lynch show or movie? It's got to be Elephant Man, right? That fucking warped baby one. That one fucks me up. But I don't like watching it. I'll watch Elephant Man again. Lost Highway all the way, any day. Yeah. Cody says he spilled his vanilla Coke all over my mattress. Figure out if that's a euphemism or not. Mattress. All over my mattress. Yes, euphemism. That was the word I was looking for, not metaphor. All right. We've gone past the even hour thing. I have choices for the torturous trilogy, even though some won't be torture. Thank you again, all of you who have contributed super chats. Thank you to those of you who have contributed content and questions. Hopefully, you don't have any other burning questions moving forward. I doubt that, but I'm not going to answer all that shit. This is it. Nothing really. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I'm going to go tuck my gallbladder in, and we'll see you soon-ish. Yes? No? Thanks again. Have a night. Click that like.